I'm Julian, professional traveller. I've travelled to over 65 countries.
I'm Camilla, also a professional traveller, just trailing behind Julian with 50.
We are the unlikely travel companions, competing with each other for the best travel adventures as we explore all the world's weird and wonderful places.
Experiencing all the hardships and magical moments along the way.
I'm a better traveller than Camilla when it comes to avoiding dodgy locals.
I'm a better traveller than Julian at finding where the locals hang out. Together, we test our friendship, experiencing the ultimate exploration of our planet and its people. Join us
on Julian and Camilla's World Odyssey. In this Odyssey, we visit Tunisia, the ancient jewel of the Mediterranean and gateway to the Sahara, which we tackle by car, plane, and Camilla's rabid camel.
Julian performs his awkward sexy dance with a local girl.
We stay in Luke Skywalker's home.
Luke Skywalker didn't have a very good life, did he?
Exploring the locations where the legendary Star Wars films were shot.
Get into the kitchen of a psychopathic restaurateur where the service far outweighs the food, and we find a country that enjoys showing off its luxuries and selling the finest goods money can buy.
Would you have this in your home?
On our Tunisian Odyssey, we begin in its capital, Tunis, and continue on through Hammamet, the holy Muslim city of Kairouan, the island of Jerba, Matmata, and the Sahara Desert towns of Douz and Tazor.
Situated in the highest region on the African continent, just southwest of Sicily, the city of Tunis is exactly what its geography suggests: Africa in the Mediterranean. Arabic is the official language here, but wandering the Tunisian Champs-Élysées, you frequently hear French, the country's other language, often spoken in its Parisian-style cafes. This makes Tunis feel like the most European piece of Africa.
On first impression, Tunis has a very masculine vibe about it. The women all appear to be on their way somewhere, whilst the men just all seem to hang out.
The first morning that we awoke in our Sidi Bou Said hotel, I found some of the friendliest staff I'd ever come across on my travels. So I was brave enough to practice my limited French on them. Merci beaucoup.
Named after a Muslim saint who is buried near a local cafe here are the striking blue and white coloured streets of Sidi Bou Said.
Everything was blue and white, including Camilla.
Did you notice that I dressed my clothes to match?
Oh, you did too, blue and white, look at that.
Yeah. Even the locals seem to blend right into their own background, but these stacks and stacks of souvenir stalls were hard to avoid.
Nice. You don't even need to come to this place, you can just look at the pretty pictures and postcards.
I'm a different kind of traveller to that.
Camilla wasn't the only one eager to see the sights firsthand. We were accosted by a busload of tourists, also taking pictures of the beautiful neighbourhood.
We are from Japan.
Do you like Tunisia?
Beautiful scenery, beautiful sea, and beautiful sky.
Julian was getting braver at showing off his high school French to the locals.
Bonjour. Petit dog. And the locals here were très cool.
You are Tunisian rappers?
Yeah. Virus A, don't say, Ganilium show rap, don't say, yo.
Welcome. While Tunisian rap might have a little way to go to conquer the world, the Tunisian film industry is pretty well established. Hollywood's major stars have been drawn here, as the Tunisian landscape has been used in scores of major blockbuster films, the most famous of all being Star Wars. We were keen to leave our own mark on Tunisian movie history and scored ourselves walk-on parts on a major film being shot here, a student film.
On set, giving professional advice was one of Tunisia's acting legends, Raouf Ben Amour, who has learned his craft from some of the world's greatest actors, even if some of them were completely drunk on set.
Could not imagine that it can happen on a shooting, really.
Who's been drunk?
Huh?
Who's been drunk?
Peter O'Toole, of course. But he's a tremendous actor, tremendous actor.
All the drinks on the student film's wedding set were non-alcoholic, so we had to nervously perform our big acting challenge, stone cold sober.
Which what?
Do you think we were actually being filmed, or do you think we just asked if we could cross frame and they said...
Filming. Bride doesn't look very happy.
Unfortunately, our roles didn't allow us access to the on-set catering, so we headed to downtown Tunis to scout for cheap street food. Here we discovered that even the roadside restaurateurs are in the entertainment business.
This looks like more like our style. Are you selling fish?
Yes, one fish. One good fish, huh? One more.
This guy's insane.
Fish, yeah. Wow. One more. Salad.
And there's something in your salad.
Wow.
No problem.
Salad.
No problem. We weren't convinced by the food, but we didn't seem to have a say. Without taking our order, the preposterous proprietor began dishing out his Tunisian fare.
Yes, yeah, good.
After witnessing the French bread attacked by a psychopath let loose in the kitchen, we found ourselves well into our second course.
On met ça comme ça.
Olives?
Olive, oui, olive verte.
Olive verde.
Vert, comme les yeux verts. Wow!
After charming us into staying, we were curious to learn how this man stayed in business, so sampled his most popular dish, the Tunisian brick.
Je vous en prie. Très bien. Ça, c'est brique tunisienne. Brique. Non, brique. Brique. Voilà. Brique. Très bien.
Brick.
Voilà. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brique, brique. Thank you, thank you. Wow!
Oh, it's completely uncooked.
What's inside?
Raw egg. I'm not sure about inside the raw egg business going on.
Popular with the locals, Mr. Waiwai left his job as a rather unique waiter and started up his own restaurant just over the road and took away all the business from his former employer.
He's worth every Tunisian dinar you spend here.
The gentleman's intoxicating table manners kept us entertained long enough to try and enjoy some more of his menu.
He's a matchmaking.
And, as a finale, allowed Julian to share a little of his spotlight by matchmaking him with a lady who I think just wanted to eat her dinner.
Can we have a bill, please? Is this for me?
Very much.
One minute.
Cheap Tunisian street food wasn't exactly impressing us, but if it was all served by Tunisians like Mr. Waiwa, it was going to be priceless.
Good night.
Tunis was once considered to be one of the greatest and wealthiest cities in the Islamic world. Wandering its old quarter, the Medina, built during the 7th century, you really get the feeling that not that much has changed. I was enjoying getting lost in its maze of winding streets and meeting its locals, but Julian soon found something to complain about.
Drive motorbikes down here, that's quite dangerous. I can't believe they let cars down these things.
Hello.
Bonjour. Silly man, take your car down a tiny alleyway. The Medina also has a rather 7th century smell about it that Camilla pretty quickly sniffed out and identified.
That's what it is.
It's a goat.
It's a goat.
Wow, that's pretty cool. It's a goat's house. That smells it, huh? This is a little stall.
Is your one?
What?
It's got no name, apparently.
It's very smelly.
Nice.
Hey, look, you got photos of it on the wall.
He does have photos of it. Yeah.
Smelly, yeah?
Julian, are you
I can't
okay?
stand here.
Well, why don't you leave then?
I am trying to...
I want to pet him. He's very proud of it.
He is proud of it, yeah. Oh.
The smell of the goat, whose owner explained was actually a ram, soon gave way to an altogether sweeter smell of traditional pastries and perfumes, all coming to the aid of Julian's delicate senses.
Founded by a Phoenician princess in the 9th century BC, Carthage housed the most beautiful and richest seaport in ancient times, lasting for centuries until its destruction by the Romans in 146 BC.
Hold it down a second, it'll kind of focus.
These days, visitors journey to its ruins in the richest neighbourhood of Tunis. Traces of its former glory are preserved in the Mosaic Museum in the city. Marvellous depictions of Roman life are beautifully preserved here in one of the world's most important collections. Julian seemed most impressed by the hard-working ladies who were cleaning the ancient mosaics. Wandering the city after dusk, Tunis nightlife on the surface seemed to be as happening as a small country town, but Julian persisted in looking for action.
Bonjour, bonjour. It looks deserted as well. Yes, as I guessed. Things didn't look promising. The DJ was playing for me, Camilla, and about 10 middle-aged men. But as the music taste became more local, suddenly more local ladies appeared on the dance floor.
Julian's lack of respect for the live music didn't endear himself to the locals, so I was the first to get asked for a dance.
Things looked like they were getting a bit freaky over on the floor for Camilla, but just as I was breathing a sigh of relief, I was dragged up by a Tunisian princess who proved to be the epitome of an overly liberated modern Muslim girl.
Julian's unreciprocated mating dance had attracted a succession of lurking suitors, eager to take his place. So we slipped out of the limelight and ended up drinking with a group of older clubbers, which included a charming gentleman who invited us to take a look at his collection of antique cars the next day.
We had a personal tour of Mr. Khalid Jalouli's impressive collection of cars. They were certainly antique.
My father's car, my father. Can smell it.
What does it smell like?
Old.
His collection of disheveled cars were bizarre, but certainly impressive, including his prized possession, the type of Porsche that James Dean owned, which, upon inspection, Julian broke.
I was pretty embarrassed until I saw that it was just the kind of tender loving care that the cars around here were used to. We were escorted to a car that for some reason had its very own showroom.
The next stop, Mr. Jalouli's bedroom, which was also full of cars, but in much better condition.
You're a car lover. In the library of his opulent home, he revealed that he came from an important line of Tunisians, which included 2 prime ministers and a mayor. Your cousin is the mayor of Tunis, yeah. Wow.
My grandfather is General de Gaulle.
Oh, wow.
That's de Gaulle.
Yes.
That's the king of Tunisia, and that's my grandfather.
So a very important family then.
And you can, yes.
Retiring for tea, the gentleman revealed a rich and privileged life, which included some wild times.
Would you describe yourself as a playboy?
It depends how we mean by playboy, but...
A man about town.
That's what I prefer. I lived in the 60s in London, so I was... And every night we used to have a drink with Jimi Hendrix.
You drank with Jimi Hendrix?
Every single night.
Not just one drink. Many
drinks.
Many drinks. Armed with tips from the pro on where to hang out in luxury, we headed south to get a taste of the playboy's lifestyle at the resort town of Hammamet. During the roaring 20s, this lethargic fishing village was discovered by European and American socialites. Well-to-do foreigners claimed it as their own and settled into a life of comfort in a sort of commune of culture. We splashed out a new record fee for us, $100 US a night, to stay at the Sinbad Hotel, where baskets of figs and fruits were in abundance. You come in the back. Ew.
After all the flea-bitten backpacker rooms and budget-sized beds I've endured, it was money well spent, 9 out of 10. The man who ushered in all the wealth to Hammamet was a Romanian millionaire called George Sebastian. In the 1920s, he built what architect Frank Lloyd Wright would describe the most beautiful house that I know. The house welcomed many famous guests, including Sir Winston Churchill. This fascinated Julian, who became obsessed with whether he was sitting in the exact same spot as the great man himself once did.
Churchill stayed here, yes?
Yes.
This bed or this one?
No, it's changed here.
Used to be big bed. Before we got into trouble imagining where Churchill had actually stepped, we were urged to do what most tourists do when they come to Tunisia, play a round of golf. Winston Churchill wrote, "Golf is a game whose aim is to hit